Welcome to Terrifying Tales, dear viewers. Today's tale explores a quaint town hiding extraordinary secrets, a story about an ordinary family, an old mansion, and a mysterious secret threatening their lives unfolds. Welcome to the world of the unknown. Welcome to Terrifying Tales. Welcome, dear viewers, to a tale of the uncanny and the unknown. In the quiet corners of our homes, secrets lie in wait. Are you ready to uncover them? Picture a quaint town where life moves at a leisurely pace, and the days roll into each other like waves lapping against the shoreline. In this town there exists a family, ordinary in every way save for one. They are the recent inheritors of a grand yet decrepit mansion, passed down through generations, a relic of a time long past. The house, a character in its own right, stands solemnly at the edge of the town, untouched by the passage of time. Its ancient timbers, weather-beaten and worn, whisper tales of the past. The family, a couple and their two young children, are filled with a mix of trepidation and excitement as they embark on this new journey. The house is an enigma, a labyrinth of rooms and corridors, each one seeming to hold its own share of secrets. The family, curious yet apprehensive, begin to explore their new residence, each room revealing a piece of the house's intriguing history. But the real mystery lies upstairs, in the attic, a locked door, a hidden key, and a sense of dread that permeates the air around it. Are they ready to unlock its secrets? Are they prepared for what they might find? Or will their curiosity lead them down a dark path from which there is no return? Stay with us as we journey into the heart of the unknown. Have you ever pondered upon what lurks in the shrouded corners of your dwelling? In the murky, cobwebbed attic, perhaps? We are about to descend into a haunting voyage into the unseen. Envision this, an ancient house nestled ominously amidst a grove of towering skeletal oaks, abandoned by time. Unmarred by the intervention of the modern world, it stands as a grim testament to the past, to an era long forgotten. The paint is flaking, the wood groans under its age, and the windows are blurred with years of disregard. The house, eerily sentient, pulsates with a life of its own, its hushed murmurs carried by the chilling wind. The secrets it cradles within its walls are ancient, their essence seeping into the very timber it's erected from. Imagine what chilling tales these old walls would recount if they could speak. Stories of joy turned sorrow, of life meeting death, of love shattered into heartbreak, and so much more. Having been an unspeaking witness to the grim spectacles of existence, it has seen too much. In this tale, our protagonists are a family, a couple with their two young children, innocent yet filled with trepidation. The house, their recent inheritance, is a terrain uncharted to them, a cryptic world to traverse. The very air around them shivers with the dread of the unknown, the suspense of an impending ordeal. Each room they dare to enter furnishes a glimpse into an era alien to them, chambers adorned with eerie relics of a bygone epoch. Of all the rooms, the attic is the most unsettling, a locked door shrouded in a terrifying enigma, an unexplained aura of dread seeping from it. The attic, typically a store for forsaken items, here radiates a forbidding charm. The children's innocent eyes widen in fear, minds teeming with horrifying possibilities. What horrors lay beyond the locked door? A cursed treasure, a forsaken diary, or the remnants of a dreadful past? The parents exchange a glance, their smiles replaced with tense anticipation. A decision is made, a mutual accord to quench their curiosity, to unearth house's concealed horror. An ancient rusted key is found, seemingly untouched for centuries. The lock groans open, revealing a room choked with dust and cobwebs, a room that time appears to have forsaken. Stepping in one by one, they sense the palpable tension in the air. Each object they touch, each relic they unearth, is a chilling testament of the past. Photographs, letters, clothes, toys, all artifacts from a time they could only dread. Their laughter is replaced by hushed whispers, each revelation a terrifying new chapter in their ordeal. As dusk falls, their exploration continues, their dread mounting. The attic, once a closed chapter, now their fearsome fixation. The whispers of the house grow louder, the tales it tells more harrowing. The mystery of the attic, the horror it harboured, becomes an inescapable part of their existence. But little did they know, Their curiosity was leading them into a nightmare they would wish they never dared to face. In the moment they dared to turn the key, the attic groaned, awakening an entity of pure terror that had been dormant for centuries. Almost instantly, an oppressive, deathly stillness swallowed every sound in the house. The air turned so heavy, so dense, it seemed to be a physical entity in itself. The once familiar echoes of lively family banter, footfalls, and the cheerful clattering of dishes were brutally silenced. Now there was nothing but an emptiness so deep it could swallow the world. It was as if life itself had been sucked out, leaving behind a terrifying void. The once cosy space of the house transformed into a menacing vacuum, pulsating with an energy akin to the charged air before an apocalyptic storm. The previous warmth had been replaced with a chilling atmosphere that seemed to have descended from the deepest pits of an unknown realm. An alien creak radiated from the heart of the house, followed by a deafening thump that echoed from the walls like an evil heartbeat. These disturbing sounds seemed to wind through the now crypt-like halls, bouncing off the stone-cold walls and instilling a sense of impending, stood frozen, their heartbeat thundering in their ears, a terror-filled symphony of dread. Suddenly, objects began to move on their very own accord, not violently, but subtly, as if manipulated by invisible, malevolent hands. The once familiar surroundings became a surreal nightmare. A vase shifted ominously to the left, a painting tilted at a bizarre angle, and a book tumbled off the shelf as if pushed by a spectral hand. The house itself seemed to be alive, playing a sinister game of fear. A bone-chilling cold pierced the very air, a coldness that transcended earthly understanding. It crawled under their skin, snaking up their spines, raising goosebumps on their flesh. An icy wind seemed to sweep through the rooms, making candles flicker ominously, casting grotesque shadows that danced on the walls like vile spectres. An uncomfortable sheen of cold sweat drenched their foreheads. Their hearts pounded like a death knell in their chests, their breaths becoming sharp, laboured gasps. Their hands felt sickly cold, and a sense of dread had burrowed deep within their hearts. The spectral presence became more tangible, its eyes boring into their very souls, its unseen gaze dissecting, studying, observing with a primal intensity. Driven by a morbid curiosity, they started unearthing the cryptic past of the house. Every artifact, a cryptic piece of a jigsaw puzzle, old photographs, faded letters, dust-covered diaries, each seemed to narrate a harrowing tale of despair and tragedy, a tale that felt ominously linked to the hellish events unfolding in their home. As darkness descended, the horror amplified. The noises turned into blood-curdling screams, the cold transformed into a deathly freeze. Sleep was an unattainable luxury, their wide eyes staring terror-struck into the pitch black, their ears hypersensitive to every demon-haunted sound. As they huddled together, a dreadful realization clawed at them. They were never alone, they were in the midst of pure evil. As they say, the truth can be more gut-wrenching than any horror tale spun by the most creative minds. This phrase took a nightmarishly real dimension for the new occupants of a seemingly innocent house nestled in a quiet neighbourhood. A frigid horror was about to envelop their quaint tranquillity. Initially, the family was engulfed in excitement, ready to embark on a new chapter in their lives. Their dreams were soaked in the promising glow of a safe haven. Little were they aware of the ominous curve their life was about to take. With a sense of eager discovery, they combed through every dark corner of the house, brushing off layers of history to make way for their own. Their curiosity drew them towards the attic, the last untouched vestige of yesteryears. Among the dust-laden relics they stumbled upon a box, a seemingly innocuous wooden box, yet it pulsed with an eerie intrigue. It harboured a bone-chilling account of the house's previous occupant, a man who had an unnatural affinity for the occult. This man was not merely a curious seeker of the supernatural. He was chained by an obsession so intense it swallowed him whole. His very existence was surrendered to the cryptic world of the supernatural, the arcane and the occult. Under the shroud of mystery, the man vanished one day, leaving no trace behind. His sudden disappearance cast a haunting pall over the house, turning it into a hushed subject of whispered discussions among the town's inhabitants. Tales of bizarre nocturnal rituals, of cryptic symbols scrawled across the walls, of chilling sounds that echoed from the house's very foundation, sent shivers down their spines. The family's initial fascination morphed into unsettling unease. The stories hinted at the possibility that the man had conjured something, an entity seething with malevolence, something otherworldly. The identity of this entity was shrouded in shadowy ambiguity. The only certainty was that it was not of this realm. His fate was left to the imagination, an unfinished story that vanished into obscurity. There were rumours, of course, hushed whispers of the man being consumed by the very entity he summoned, but these were merely conjectures, tales woven to satisfy the human craving for the grotesque. The family was left to grapple with this harrowing knowledge. Each creak of the floorboards, each piercing gust of wind, each shadow darting in the periphery of their vision sparked questions, dread-filled questions that only deepened their fear. The truth was laid bare, tinged with enigma. The slow, creeping realization of the house's tainted history to be forgotten. It echoed with tales of the supernatural, casting a grim shadow over their once peaceful existence. Their cheerful laughter was replaced by fearful whispers. The warm sunlight felt chillingly cold, and the once comforting ambience was overshadowed by an unsettling eeriness. Their existence had been irrevocably distorted. Their home no longer just a home, it was a vessel, a gateway into the unknown, harbouring an entity far from human. One thing was chillingly clear. Their initial beliefs were shattered to pieces. They were now stranded in a terrifying reality, where they were mere spectators in their own home. They were now living with the chilling realization their home was shared with something otherworldly. But comprehending and confronting such a presence are two wholly different horrors. The sheer profundity hidden within such a statement is as unfathomable as the enigma that had morphed into their living nightmare. Located deep within the memories of their once tranquil family residence, an evil had seeded itself. An unholy being that scoffed at logic, resisting all attempts to silence its insidious dominance. The family, once full of life, now found themselves ensnared in a war against an adversary they could neither grasp nor gaze upon. Their former haven, filled with echoes of joy and safety, was now a war zone, overthrown by a force as cryptic as it was blood-curdling. This entity lurked in the shadows, contorting their lives into a bleak tableau of terror and desperation. Heroic were their efforts to wrestle their home back from this spectral menace that had claimed it as its lair. They battled with valour, with resilience, grasping onto the hope that their unity, their love for each other, would be the beacon to guide them through this nightmare. One by one, they tried every conceivable method. Exorcisms, cleansing rituals, prayers and pleas, all to no avail, forming a futile procession of botched attempts that only served to tighten the entity's stranglehold on their existence. Rather than diminishing, the malevolent force seemed to draw vitality from their desperation. It revelled in their despair, swelling with power with each passing day. Their home, once a fortress of safety, had morphed into a terror-filled maze of dread, a prison whose bars were forged by the unseen terror that lurked within its walls. The dread grew insidiously, a relentless chill that gnawed away at their sanity, seeping into their very marrow. It suffused the air, the essence of their existence, until it was all they could sense, all they could feel. Each groan of the floorboards, each sigh of the wind, each flicker of the candlelight seemed to echo their mounting terror. Their once tranquil nights were supplanted by invisible threats and unvoiced dread. Their spirits were filled with a bone-chilling dirge, a silent plea for salvation that seemingly fell on deaf ears. The resilience that had spurred them too was gradually replaced by a debilitating sense of doom. They felt trapped, ensnared in the web spun by the unseen terror. Their strength waned, their courage faded until they felt impotent, defenceless against the unrelenting onslaught of the malevolent force. Amidst the chaos despair, a thin ray of hope, a desperate belief that they would reclaim their home, their lives, kept them alive. This belief was the ember that fueled them, that made them press on in their struggle against the entity hell-bent on their annihilation. Yet the question loomed, would their belief strength suffice, or would the darkness completely devour them? But what ensues next, you ask? That, my dear listeners, is a tale for a darker, scarier night. As the sun sets, the terror rises. The dusk, once a prelude to the serenity of the night, now marks the inception of their living nightmare. The family, ensnared in the grip of the unseen terror, makes futile attempts to escape the confines of the house. The doors, the windows, the very walls that once sheltered them, now stand as impassive sentinels, barring them from the safety of the outside world. Each attempt to flee is met with an ominous resistance, as if the house itself conspires with the entity to keep them within its chilling grasp. The entity's power grows, feeding off their mounting despair. Its insidious presence permeates the air, transforming the once comforting silence of the night into a symphony of dread. Each creak of the floorboards, each gust of wind, each flicker of the candlelight seems to mock their predicament, amplifying the terror that has become their constant companion. The house, once a symbol of hope, of familial bonds, of cherished memories, now stands as a monument to their unending nightmare. Its once inviting warmth has been replaced by a bone-chilling cold. Its once comforting walls now echo with the whispers of the unseen terror. The family's despair grows with each passing minute, each futile attempt to escape, each chilling encounter with the unseen entity. Their home, their sanctuary, has been transformed into a prison, their lives into a relentless cycle of terror. And so the tale continues, in the shadows of the night, in the silence of the attic. The family, once full of life and laughter, is now merely a group of survivors, clinging onto the faint glimmer of hope that they will reclaim their home, their lives, from the clutches of the unseen entity. But will they succeed? Or will they remain prisoners in their own home, ensnared in the web of the unseen terror? That, my dear listeners, is a tale for another night. Before we end this chilling tale, dear viewers, let us not forget that the unseen terror is not confined to the realms of fiction. It lurks in the shadows of our world, in the depths of our fears, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. But fear not, for knowledge is your shield, your weapon against the unseen terror. And to arm you with this weapon, we bring you these terrifying tales. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Your support fuels our efforts, enabling us to delve deeper into the unknown, to unearth more chilling tales for your viewing pleasure. Like this video and share it with your friends. Let them too experience the thrill, the chill, the sheer terror of the unseen. And don't forget to leave a comment about what you thought of this tale. Your thoughts, your insights, your fears, they help us understand the unseen terror better, to weave more compelling tales for you. Stay tuned for more terrifying tales. Until then, keep the lights on, dear viewers, for the unseen terror lurks in the shadows, in the silence, in the unknown. And remember, the unseen terror is not to be feared but understood, for in understanding lies the key to overcoming it. Until next time, dear viewers, stay safe, stay vigilant, and most importantly, stay curious.